Hi, everybody. This is Tommy Lasorda. Listen to the Sandlot, the best thing that could happen to you.
The one constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball.
Are you crying?
It's a part of our past, Ray.
There's no crying.
It reminds us of all that once was good.
There's no crying in baseball.
Just a bit outside.
Baseball will be very, very good to me.
It's a simple game. You throw the ball, you hit the ball, you catch the ball.
Personally, I think we got hosed on that.
The Sandlot Radio Network is on the air. And now, starting pitcher for the Sandlot, former pro player and Major League scout, Ted Howard.
This is National League All-Star Justin Upton.
Hi, this is Shane Victorino.
Hi, this is Albert Pujols.
Hi, this is David Wright.
It's Derek Jeter, New York Yankees, and you're listening to The Sandlot.
Welcome to The Sandlot. It's where everybody plays. It's a place of our own. It's our field. It's our neighborhood. It's our team. It's our home. The Sandlot is presented by TerramarCollective.com and sponsored by the Sandlot Radio Network, Econoair, South Bay Credit Union, Max Graphics LA, and Grit Sports Collective. The Sandlot returns for its 12th season and second on our new home, Fox Sports Radio, 610 AM and 106.7 FM. Also streamed live on 610foxsports.com. We look forward to bringing you the childhood Sandlot stories from the biggest names in baseball, including players, coaches, scouts, front office personnel, and even media, as they reflect on their road to the big leagues. Last week on the Sandlot, we featured 2 segments of Who's Hot and Who's Not in MLB with our resident baseball fanatic and producer, Nick Wright. We also had former Major League pitcher, now agent, Jimmy Bollinger. And we had Tampa Bay sports radio talk jock, Rock Riley. They were talking about the future of baseball for the Rays in Florida. This week on The Sandlot, we have a former major leaguer, now color commentator on Rockies TV, MLB Network, Sirius XM Radio, and Apple TV, Sandlot regular Ryan Spilborgs. We also have one of the great knuckleballers of all time. Played 25 years in the major leagues until he was 47 years old, Charlie Hough. Right now, we have Who's Hot and Who's Not in the American League with Spilly. He's back, and he's going to be our Who's Hot, Who's Not special guest this week. He's one of the best at it because he's right down there every day watching it up close and personal. Happens to be with one of the organizations that happens to be on the biggest struggle in history right now. But hey, you're there every day. You know more about what's going on in Major League Baseball than hardly anyone else I know. So, Spilly, thank you so much for being a guest.
You got it, TP.
Let's start with this American League East because it was really weird. The Yankees looked so good all year going into the All-Star break, and then they fell apart, and the Blue Jays really came together. And you mentioned the Red Sox and how good they could be in the second half, and they sure have been. But let's really break this division down. Right now, the Blue Jays are 2 in front of the Yankees and 3 in front of the Red Sox. And the Blue Jays have gone 5-5 in their last 10, and the Yankees have turned it around and gone 7-3, while the Red Sox have only gone 5-5. So, and what's crazy is the spoiler in the division right now was the Orioles. They spoiled it for the Dodgers a little bit, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, we'll start with the Orioles. The Orioles, what a disappointing year. And if you do look at the stuff that the Orioles dealt with injuries, especially to their rotation, you can understand why they went backwards this year. They're decimated by injuries. But as far as American League East, I still love the Toronto Blue Jays. They have this, I look at certain stats, home runs, runs scored, run differential. I also look at a stat that I have to do on my own, which I call strikeout differential. So I basically take the pitching staff and then subtract the hitters and see if it's a positive number. And basically, like, the Toronto Blue Jays are one of the toughest teams in baseball to strike out, and then their pitching staff strikes out more than their offense. So they're the league leader in strikeout differential, and the teams in the top 5 are like the Phillies and the Royals, and so like they're always really good teams. And so I still love the Toronto Blue Jays. They don't have any games remaining against the Yankees, so like for the Yankees to catch them, Yankees still have to play really well. But I love the Blue Jays. I still think the Red Sox are better than the Yankees. They just play a more dynamic, brand of baseball. The Yankees, if you've watched them this year, Anthony Volpe leads all shortstops in errors. He has 19. I kind of joke the Yankees are going to Yankee. They don't play clean baseball. They just try to overwhelm you with power. They lead baseball in home runs, but they're not a good defensive team, and they can pitch. Like, they have good relievers, but if I'm looking at the American League East, I like Toronto still the best out of all of them.
What about the wild card in this American League?
Wild card, I mean, there's like the Rangers might start getting back into it. And the Royals lost the other day to the Guardians. Like the Royals should be better, but they just can't score. So I think the wild card looks like it's going to be a combination of either Boston and New York. Like that feels like a given. And then the last spot comes down to an American League West team. Is that the Mariners? Do the Astros fall out of it? Do the Rangers get into it? I don't see the Royals in play anymore. So I think it's really just boiling down to like a handful. I mean, we know Tampa Bay Rays, they always sneak up late. So like Tampa could put a little run together. But I would assume it's got to be either Houston, Texas, or the Mariners as a final spot coming out of the American League West.
And in the Central, the Tigers they haven't played well in their last 10. They're 4-6, but they're still 8.5 in front of the Guardians, who have played pretty well at 6-4 in their last 10. And you mentioned the Royals can't score runs, so they're 4-6 in their last 10 and kind of fallen out of it because of it. We're not going to mention the Twins or the White Sox, but at least the White Sox won't have the worst record in baseball this year.
No, well, yeah, unless the Rockies get super hot. But yeah, the White Sox had a good improvement. Plus, I love Will Venable. He's the one that took over for the White Sox as the manager this year. And it's guys talk about it that it's been a nice change, and they finally have a shortstop too. The Colson Montgomery kid's legit. But as far as like the Central, I love the Tigers because to me they play the best brand of team baseball. Like they use everybody on the roster. They're just short. When it comes to overall talent in comparison to some of the teams in the American League East or American League West. Tarek Skubal's has a chance to win a Cy Young. I mean, the story of the Tigers is fantastic. I love going to Detroit, but I think they're just short on starting pitching. They had an all-star in Casey Mize that I think is just run out of gas in the second half, and then the back end of the bullpen is not elite, but they will go through what AJ Hinch calls pitching chaos. And once they start doing pitching chaos, which is like basically they'll throw any pitcher at any time, they start messing with teams. So I still love the Tigers. They're just overall talent-wise, they're just short, but I would love them to be in the World Series this year.
And the White Sox, one more thing, they're 7-3 in their last 10. So just like the Orioles are trying to be a spoiler over there in the East, the White Sox are going to play the spoiler in the Central.
Yeah, they might be. I mean, it's just good to see a team improve, so that they're not, they're not a historical reference. So I don't really care. No player wants to be called a spoiler. Nobody likes that. You just want to play good baseball, and so I'm just happy that they're playing good baseball.
Let's jump over to the American League West, where the Astros are hanging on with the 2-game lead, but them and the Mariners are both 4-6 in their last 10. So if any one of those two teams would just get hot, they could take it. And then the Rangers are 7-3 in their last 10, and it's keeping them in it.
Yeah, so the Rangers are interesting because they have, from some defensive metrics, they have the best defense in baseball. And then they have the overall best pitching staff in baseball, if you were to combine ERAs from starters and relievers. And if they missed the playoffs, I believe it would be the first time that a team that was the best in defense and pitching, overall pitching, did not make the postseason. So, baseball is about pitching and defense, and they have it, but they can't score. Right now they have a lineup it's actually playing pretty well, and it's without Corey Seager and Marcus Semien and Adolis Garcia. And some of these young players are just having a good time, and they're playing good. So I don't know what to think of Texas. They have a bunch of games remaining against the Mariners and the Astros. If they get in the dance, nobody wants to face them. So Texas could be that. Like I said, they're a sneaky wild card. It's not likely, but I never put anything past a team that pitches and plays defense. The Mariners is, I think everybody wants to see them do well. That with the season the Cal Raleigh's put together, I love the fan base. They can pitch. They're top 3 at home runs hit. Like they're a fun group. They pushed all in at trade deadline. They made the biggest acquisitions. This little stretch the last 2 weeks for the Mariners has put them backwards. I still can see them, they still have an opportunity to win the division because they have games against Houston as well and Texas. But I think in general, people just root for the Mariners. And then the Astros are strange to me because they're getting older. They're still really good. But just haven't played great. And like, if you see them, of all the first place teams, you probably rank the Astros as the sixth best first place team. So I don't know what to think of them when it comes to like overall season performance, because they have a culture of winning. And like, when you know how to win, even if they have like little bad marks, they're just so difficult to knock out. They've gone to the American League Championship Series 7 out of 8 years. Like, they're just a winning machine.
Thanks to our favorite baseball media guru, Ryan Spilly Spilborgs, for giving us a rundown on what teams are hot and what teams are not in the American League. We'll have more from Spilly on the National League when we return. We're on KAVL, Fox Sports Radio, 610 AM and 106.7 FM. We are Fox Sports. The Sandlot, it's where everybody plays. I'm your host, Tad Powers. The Sandlot is presented by Terramar Collective. Check out terramarcollective.com.
This is Clint Barmas, and I'm still listening to The Sandlot.
This is former Major League pitcher Dave Dravecki, and you are listening to The Sandlot.
This is Doug Brokel of the Houston Astros, and you're listening to The Sandlot.
Dusty Baker, manager of the Cincinnati Reds, and you're listening to The Sandlot.
This is Joe Mauer of the Minnesota Twins, and you're listening to The Sandlot.
Terramar Collective isn't just a brand, it's a tribute. Born from the Southern California coast and inspired by the legacy of a father who helped shape the board riding world literally. Terramar Collective repurposes vintage flannels and rare finds, blending timeless style with surf heritage. Honor the past, wear the story. Find us on Instagram at Terramar Collective. With so many banking options out there, why choose South Bay Credit Union? As a nonprofit credit union, they're here to serve you, not shareholders. That means they're able to provide better rates, fewer fees, and more valuable benefits to empower their members to live better and do better. You want to master your money? South Bay Credit Union puts you in control of your money with everyday banking solutions. From checking accounts to home mortgages, credit cards to auto loans, their members have access to the tools they need to achieve their financial goals now and in the future.
The heat was unbearable. My AC was striking out and my house felt like a summer game with no shade. Then I called EconoAir. What a game changer. They knocked the heat out of the park and now I'm comfortable year round. Give EconoAir a call today at 714-333-0130. That's 714-333-0130. Sandlot listeners, mention the show for an exclusive discount on maintenance or repair with EconoAir.
Hi, everybody. This is Rick Mundy, former Major League player, former All-Star, and now broadcaster with the Los Angeles Dodgers. You're tuned in exactly where you need to be. It's Sandlot, and it's baseball.
Talking baseball, the man and Bobby Fella, the Scooter, the Barber, and the Duke. They knew them all from Boston to Dubuque.
Especially Shohei, Mookie, and the Judge. Welcome back to the Sandlot. It's where everybody plays. We're on Fox Sports 610 AM and 106.7 FM. Also streamed live on 610foxsports.com. The Sandlot is presented by TerramarCollective.com. Right now we have more from Ryan Spilborgs on who's hot and who's not in the National League. It's my favorite league, always has been since I was a kid, and it's changed a lot since then. Back in the day we had 2 divisions, now there's 3. There's been realignment, so it's way different than when I was growing up, but still my favorite league. But it's a lot like the American League with having a DH now. But anyway, Phillies. 7-3 in their last 10. They're kind of burying the Mets right now because the Mets have only gone 4-6, and they have to maintain it because we got like 18 games left. But I think the Phillies are going to win that division.
Oh yeah, TP, no question. Phillies are their lead, their cushion's too big. Even though they had a bunch of games, like the Mets have the season series as far as the head-to-head. The Mets won it this year. The Phillies have too much of a lead out in front of the Mets. So yeah, the Phillies are going to win that division. But how far they go in the postseason, that's like the big question. I mean, Trey Turner got hurt. You have the loss of Zach Wheeler. Wheeler not being in the rotation, because he's dealing with blood clots. I mean, it changes their entire likelihood of winning a World Series without Zach Wheeler. But they're still really good. Phillies are really, really good.
And a couple other teams in the division that have been a disappointment for me. Well, the Braves, number one, 4-6 in their last 10. They're 19 games back. And going into the season, I just thought they were a better team.
They are a better team, but, I mean, you show me a team that loses Chris Sale, Spencer Strider, like basically their entire rotation, and show me if they're good. They just had too many losses. They lost Jurickson Profar to PED suspension. Austin Riley got hurt. I mean, it's impossible to win when you don't have your best players. So, in the case of the Braves, I totally get it. It's a disappointing year, but they got hurt worse than anybody. So yeah, I get it, but to me, it was an injury-plagued year, and I would be shocked if they're not back in contention next year.
National League Central, Brewers, man, what a story they are. 6-4 in their last 10, so they continue to play well when it counts. They're now 7.5 in front of the Cubs, who looked really good in the first half of the season, but man, have they fallen off, and it's a disappointment for me as a lifelong Cub fan.
I mean, Cubs are good. They've been hurt too. No Cal Tucker for the last week. PCA has really struggled second half of the season. They just lost the back end of their closer. They're not, at the start of the year, they lost Justin Steele. So I think they're a good team when it comes to fundamentally sound. They play, again, I like good defense. I like an offense that's unique. This is a team that steals a lot of bags. They can hit for average. Yeah, I think the Cubs are fine. I mean, ultimately, yeah, you want to win a division, but you also want to go through the postseason, and I still think they have a postseason run in them. So I'm not too worried about the Cubs. I also really love the Cincinnati Reds. Here's one of the best pitching staffs overall in baseball. They really can pitch. They have 5 starters that they're just really good. Andrew Abbott's going to get Cy Young votes. Hunter Green, when he's right, is one of the best pitchers in the game. They just can't hit as well as they should. So those two teams, Cubs and Reds, there's an outside shot that the Reds could make a little, wild card push, which would mean either the Padres or the Dodgers completely fall off the map, or the Cubs. But that doesn't feel likely. And then you talked about the Brewers. Brewers are such a fun story. I love the organization. They do everything right. They do everything with small budget. They love on their players. They play a good, very similar to Detroit team brand of baseball, but they can throw better. They have a bunch of guys that can strike you out. Freddie Peralta, Brandon Woodruff, Jacob Misarowski, a young kid that throws 1,000,000 miles an hour. So Brewers are going to win the division, no problem. I think their magic number is down to 4. So they're in, and the big question mark with the Brewers is, did they peak too soon? Because they've had some pretty big winning streaks, and they're kind of paying the price for it because of overuse and some injuries there. So we'll see. But as far as the rest of the Centrals goes, Pirates are disappointing. But yeah, Central, I hope the Cubs and the Brewers, maintain postseason spots, because I love their fan bases too. They make me happy.
It is good to see those types of fans involved in the postseason, especially Cub fans.
Yeah, especially Cub fans.
National League West, that's where you got the most time, most experience, where you spend a lot of your days. It was watching this National League West. So the Dodgers, man, what a disappointment. 3-7 in their last 10, and they're just holding on to a 1-game lead right now over the Padres.
Well, they've been hurt. And there's another team that's been hurt. Their lineup, the bottom of the lineup just hasn't been good. They've had to use players that you've probably never heard of. The Dodgers lineup hasn't been solid. They just got Max Muncy back. They're going to get Tommy Edman back. The bottom of the lineup to spin to the top just isn't working. And overall pitching for the Dodgers still elite. They're not firing, but they also know. When your lineup has Will Smith in it, which he's not been in the lineup. When you have Will Smith, Max Muncy, and Tommy Edman's back in there, those 3 guys make a big difference for their offense. So I understand it, but the Dodgers still in first place with a chance to win the division in a season that hasn't been easy because of injuries. I still, I wish I had a team that was like that.
Yeah, once they're healthy, it's a different team altogether, but they really have been hurt the whole season. And in their bullpen, there's been guys that they really counted on that just haven't showed up.
Well, And again, give it time. That bullpen's seen a lot of injuries too. No Michael Kopech and Kirby Yates and guys that have been banged up throughout the year. Tanner Scott. So I don't know. I never feel bad for the Dodgers because it's like you guys are in first place and you guys are complaining about not being as good as you want to be, and you're about to go to the postseason again. So I don't feel sorry for you, TP, or any Dodger fan.
I understand. And guess what? The other night was one of the most tragic things that's happened to the Dodgers this season. And talking about killing a bit of momentum that you're creating, you got a no-no going for 8 2/3 innings, and you give up a home run, and then you lose the game. That was a tough night for the Dodgers, and the type of thing that can kind of bury you.
Well, they won the next game, and then they won the game after that. So it's just... Yeah, and Clayton Kershaw said after the game, this is why baseball is so hard, is you have to come to the field the next day and play another game. So, yeah, I mean, look, I think it buries fans more than it buries players. Players have to jump on a flight, fly home, see their families, get ready, sleep, and play another game. So as much as people think that, like, that one game is so devastating to a team, they move on. They literally move on to the next day.
And they still got 18 left, so a lot can happen. And the Padres have had a lot of opportunities, 4-6 in their last 10. They just haven't played well. And they really had an opportunity to take that division, and they just haven't had it in them.
Well, I just saw the Padres that they've lost 2 really key pieces in the last couple of weeks. Like Xander Bogaerts got hurt, so they're playing without a shortstop. And then Jason Adam, who's a back-end reliever, so they lost one of their plus-side relievers. They're good. Like, the Padres are good. I thought the Padres had a chance to possibly knock out the Dodgers for a division. They've had their chance head-to-head. They just can't beat them. But that rivalry between Dodgers and Padres, right now, it's the best in baseball. It's better than Yankees, Red Sox. It really is. Those two teams do not like each other. But the Padres are good. The Padres are good. But if they maintain health, and I like where they're at. But if when you're without a shortstop, it's hard to be really that good. So no Xander Bogaerts. He's most likely done for the year. But they're a good team.
And then the Giants, they're right there, 7-3 in their last 10. And surprisingly, this is a team that is kind of 50-50 at home and on the road, which is weird. It seems like you'd win a lot at home and you struggle on the road, but they're 500 on the road.
Yeah, they've gotten hot. They're hitting homers now. They're playing much, much better. The Giants could be a problem for a lot of teams down the stretch. They can still pitch. They have 2 really good frontline starters in Logan Webb and Robbie Ray. So they're good. Giants are good. If they get in the postseason, nobody's going to want to face that.
And even the D-backs have played pretty well lately, and they're 6-4 in their last 10. Only 1 game under 500, 8.5 back. And then the Rockies, we got 18 games left. They've got 104 losses. I hope they play better than 500 this last 18 games.
Yeah, me too. They've had some improvement. Some of it is just personnel. They got some guys that replaced other players that were striking out a ton. So they're playing better baseball. There's going to be some changes we're expecting, from a front office standpoint. The young manager, Warren Schaefer's done a great job. I like him a lot. But yeah, the Rockies have a lot of things that they have to fix. And it'd be great if they went 500 the next 2 weeks. That'd be awesome. They only need to win 2 more games so that they don't have the worst record ever. So that's going to happen. So thank God, the Rockies won't have the worst record in the history of baseball. Last
thing, Spilly, who's going to be the 3 teams in the National League wild card in your opinion?
Well, it's going to be it's either the Mets. I think if Mets should be in there. It'll be the Cubs, and then it'll be the Padres. The outside looking in is the Diamondbacks, the Reds, and the Giants. And out of the Reds, Giants, and Diamondbacks, I give the favor to the Giants. So, barring a collapse of either the Padres or the Mets, the Cubs feel like a lock. So, I mean, there's still a lot of baseball left, man. 2 weeks is a long time in baseball terms. One bad stretch for one team and one good stretch for another is what it takes to get in the postseason.
He's former Major League player, now baseball media guru, Ryan Spilborgs. Spilly, I want to thank you so much for being a special guest host on our Who's Hot, Who's Not in MLB.
You got it, TP. Anytime.
Thanks again to Spilly for being a special guest host and for sharing his inside knowledge on who's hot and who's not in both the National League and the American League. Who's likely to win their divisions and who are the most likely wildcard teams. Don't go away. When we return, we have a 25-year Major League veteran who won 216 games in the big leagues throwing a knuckleball, Charlie Hough.
I'm Phil Brassington, former Australian representative, former player for the Kansas City Royals, longtime minor leaguer and world traveller in the baseball world, and I listen to the Sandlot.
Terramar Collective isn't just a brand, it's a tribute. Born from the Southern California coast and inspired by the legacy of a father who helped shape the board riding world literally. Terramar Collective repurposes vintage flannels and rare finds, blending timeless style with surf heritage. Honor the past, wear the story. Find us on Instagram at Terramar Collective. South Bay Credit Union features 3 centrally located branches in the South Bay, 24/7 time-saving digital banking tools, over 30,000 free ATMs nationwide, and a 100% commitment to the South Bay. South Bay Credit Union cares about their community. They've contributed over 3,600 employee volunteer hours. Over 20 local organizations have received donations or sponsorships, and they have raised over $150,000 for the Children's Miracle Network. South Bay Credit Union. Live better, do better, bank better. Step up to the plate with Econoware's Solar Services. Their solar solutions deliver unbeatable energy savings, keeping your power bills low all season long. Be a game changer. Switch to clean energy today. Sandlot listeners mention the show for an exclusive discount on maintenance or repair. Call Econoware at 714-333-0130 and hit your energy savings out of the park. Do you want more than just wins for your kids? Do you want confidence, character, and grit? At Grit Sports Collective, we help young athletes play with purpose and train with passion. With elite coaching in baseball and basketball, we're building more than skills, we're building competitors. Because greatness starts with mindset and is earned through sweat. Grit Sports Collective. Play fierce, train harder. Now enrolling in San Diego, California. Visit gritsportscollective.com and sign up today.
Hey everybody, this is Trevor Hoffman, a Hall of Famer and a San Diego Padre, and you're listening to The Sandlot.
Welcome back to The Sandlot. It's where everybody plays, right here on Fox Sports 610 AM and 106.7 FM. Also streamed live on 610foxsports.com. The Sandlot is presented by TerramarCollective.com. Right now, we have a man that played in the major leagues until he was 47 years old. A 25-year major league career throwing a knuckleball, Charlie Hough. Charlie, thanks so much for being a guest on The Sandlot.
Well, I'm happy to be here.
You were born in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the early days for Charlie and then how you developed a passion for the game of baseball, if you had access to radio or did games, or what was your exposure to the game at a young age, Charlie?
Well, my dad was still in the service after World War II. So I was born January 48. So shortly after, I guess I was about 2 or 3 when we left Hawaii and went to, my family was from New England and we lived in Rhode Island. We went back to Rhode Island. My dad had a little printing business and I played Little League baseball in Smithfield Little League in Rhode Island. My brother is the guy that really got me going into baseball. A year and a half older, good player, went on to sign with the Red Sox much later in '64. But, if you think of a Little League moment or Sandlot moment for me, pitching in the backyard playing wiffle ball with my year and a half older brother who was really tough to get out. Plus he cheated me a little bit, as big brothers have a tendency to do. So that would be my kind of feeling for baseball. Living in New England, we'd go out in the backyard and one of us would pitch. We'd play a game and one of us would be the Yankees, one of us would be the Red Sox. My brother always got to be the Red Sox, but so I had to be the dreaded Yankee guy. I think we were supposed to imitate the guy that was batting. And I think my brother, being we were both right-handed, I think my brother's the only guy that ever pinch hit for the great Ted Williams. if the game was close, he'd put a right-hander up. Yeah, that was, our Little League moment, just like the movie, just kids playing, loving it, absolutely loving it. Red Sox fans forever.
And back then we had radio. I grew up playing in the backyard, and I had the Cubs is what I grew up listening to. Jack Brickhouse and Lou Boudreau on WGN radio, and I was able to listen to the game while we were playing and try to imitate what was going on in the game. And yeah, we had the stances down of all the different players, whether they're right-handed or left-handed, and the lefties pick-off move. And there was a guy like Charlie Hough that threw a knuckleball, and we were going to try to do that too.
Yeah, I think most kids that end up playing professional baseball started somewhere very similar. We played Little League. We played anywhere we could, and it's fun. And I felt like a Little Leaguer for, till I was 46. So I was pretty lucky with it.
Yeah, when you think you got to play the game that you loved as a kid for your entire life until a ripe old age for, a man to play this game, you played it for a really long time. It is a dream come true, isn't it?
Big time. Really big time dream. As a kid, I didn't want to be a pitcher. I wanted to play third base for the Boston Red Sox, and I wanted to be the next Frank Malzone, if anybody can remember that name. So, getting to go to Fenway a couple times a year, boy, oh boy. And to finally, after, a lot of years in the big leagues, to go to the American League and get to pitch a game in Fenway, really a just incredible thrill.
Let's talk about the draft, because way back in 1966, when the Dodgers drafted you out of high school, the draft was, nobody knew what the draft was. Families weren't educated. What was it like on draft day, and what did that mean to your family back then?
I had nothing. I had no idea what the draft was going to bring. My brother signed in 64, and the next year they started the draft. I had no idea. I had no idea when I was drafted, except for we got a call like the next day that I was drafted by the Dodgers, which shocked me because I had nothing to do with the Dodgers. If I had a choice, I would have signed with Boston. But I was drafted by the Dodgers, and I'll be darned, I was the luckiest guy in the world because my first year playing professional baseball at 18, my manager was a very young, somewhat slender, I guess you'd say at that point, Tommy Lasorda. So I played as a rookie leaguer for a Hall of Fame manager. What a break.
Wow, that is really cool. And the things that you learned coming out of high school, going into pro ball, I got to admit, I didn't know much going into pro ball. I thought I knew something about the game, and then you realize how much you don't when you get there.
You know what? I was still trying to learn my last year at 46. It is a very easy-looking game, done right, but boy, is it tough. Just fielding a ground ball. I watch these kids play today, and they are incredible athletes. I think they're so good, it's crazy.
That summer, when you got drafted, you got a chance to go play in the Cape Cod. A couple of weeks ago, I had this last summer's Cape Cod MVP, and it's such a big step for guys to go and play in that type of competition, and you were super young to be playing in the Cape.
Well, back then, it wasn't the level of play, I don't think, that it is now. I mean, it was a lot of New England small college players there. Now it's from all over the country, best players in the country out of colleges. I don't think anybody played younger than me. I mean, I was a high school kid. I was in 10th grade when I went and played at Chatham, and I didn't stay all year. And I was a little bit over my head, but my brother had signed with the Red Sox, and the Red Sox kind of ran the Chatham team. And we were the Chatham Red Sox. Now it's I think the Anglers. What a, great time. 16 years old. I'm living with a family on Cape Cod, got a job. I mean, it was pretty special.
And it's still going on today, all these years later, the same type of situation. It's still one of the premier leagues in the country. It's probably even more so than it was then. And the kids,
for sure,
go. It's a huge treat for them to be treated like kings for the first time, really, in their baseball careers.
Well, actually, you end up with some responsibility. You got to, they get you a job, kind of a phony job, but they used to get you a job, and you made a couple of dollars working for somebody, and you get to play in the afternoon and evening. I mean, now it's scouted. It is incredible how many really good players come out of that league now.
As a minor league pitcher through the lower levels, Ogden, Santa Barbara, Albuquerque, you're learning how to pitch, and you're a conventional right-handed pitcher. 1970, you decide you're going to go with something different and special, funky. That changed your career. And to the point where you went on and won 216 Major League Baseball games because you learned how to throw a knuckleball. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Who was the tutor, and how did you master this thing?
Kind of crazy how I got to do it. I mean, my first full year in pro ball, I won 16 games between A and AA. I was 19 years old, pitched 200 and something innings. My shoulder was a mess from then on. And I pitched 2 more years in AA with a sore shoulder, and got to go to what they call the instructional league after the season, like September, just about this time in 69. And one of the coaches there approached me. I was playing catch with another pitcher, and he said, "Hey, have you ever thrown a knuckleball?" And I said, "Well, show me how." And he put my hand on the ball, showed me a grip. And I said, "What do you do?" And he said, "You just throw it out of your hand." So I played catch for, 5 minutes, and I threw one that didn't spin. And I thought, well, heck, I can do that. That's not hard to do. The ball fit. And the coach was a guy named Goldie Hope. Been in baseball forever at that point. And Tommy Lasorda was the manager of that team. He was running our team. And he told me, "You're going to throw it every pitch," because my arm was bad. He said, "You need something. You can't pitch the way you are." And they gave me a chance. Tommy gave me a chance and went from there. And next year I was in AAA relieving and ended up in the big leagues.
And when you think about developing a pitch that today really doesn't exist, like we don't have a true knuckleballer right now. A couple of years ago, we had A. Dickey, we had the guy from Boston that was so good.
Yeah,
Timmy Wakefield. And
Stephen Wright.
And David, yeah. But where has it gone? There's nobody that does it right now.
Well, there's a couple of guys that are in Matt Waldron with the Padres, who's been up and down with them. Got a good knuckleball. And there's a kid in the AA level with Detroit that's got a pretty good knuckleball. So it's a matter of getting a chance. Years ago, there were more minor leagues, more teams, and you could get to play more. Now the pressure is kind of on a kid because we have 4 teams now. We used to have like 6 or 7. So you needed more pitchers. Well, now we're trying to find innings for guys. And if you're not a hard thrower, you're not getting a chance right now. And that's the problem, but it's the way the game is now. But eventually somebody's going to click at one of these guys that's in the minor leagues now, or somebody coming up is going to throw it probably as good as anybody ever did.
And Charlie, it made you be able to pitch for a really long time because longevity is the big question mark now. Everybody throws super hard and they got the spin rate off the charts. But their longevity, the average pitcher is not going to make 10 years anymore. And you're
for sure.
You got to play until you were late into your 40s, and nobody's going to do that.
I doubt it, but you just never know who the next Phil Niekro is going to be, or Hoyt Wilhelm. I don't know. Somewhere down the lines, because we need so many pitchers, some kid's going to get this thing and get it right and be a star.
And have you given tutelage to some other people throughout your coaching career on throwing a knuckleball and the advantages? And did you ever get anybody to really master one?
Well, R.A. Dickey, spent time with R.A. when he was starting. Tim Wakefield, Stephen Wright. I mean, most of the guys that have thrown it, I have spent some time with, just like guys spent time with me when I first started. I got to play with Hoyt Wilhelm, Hall of Famer. He was 40, I think 46 or 48. We played together in AAA, and I was 22. He's 48 teaching me. So I try to show guys what I did and what I had learned and what I learned from Phil Necro, Joe Necro. I mean, these guys were incredibly good, so I try to pass it on.
The 10 years you got to spend with the Rangers, you're in the Texas Rangers Hall of Fame, and you're an all-star there. And your numbers that you put up with the Rangers for a period of time were as good as in the history of their franchise. So you're well-respected down there in Texas.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great place to play. I was very fortunate that I had a stretch in my career there where my arm wasn't doing too good, and I was not pitching well. And Dodgers sold me. It's tough to leave the Dodgers when I was 14 and a half years with them, and they sold me to Texas. And, I was really lucky with it because I got a chance to start. I'd been relieving, and, it was a fresh start, and I did well. So it was a good combination and great people, great fans there.
Now, you got a chance to play in the World Series. You got a chance to play with Hall of Famers. Who were some of the greatest teammates and guys that you faced through your lifetime?
If you go facing guys, I mean, the first big thrill, my first out in the big leagues was with the bases loaded, 2 out, bottom of the ninth, facing Willie Stargell. So, that's a good start of guys to face. On that team was Roberto Clemente. Let's see, who's the second base? Bill Mazeroski. And then I got to face Hank Aaron a bunch. I gave up number 716 to Hank Aaron. So many great players, And big rivalry with the Dodgers was the Big Red Machine in the 70s. That was incredible. What a ball club. And then teammates, so many good ones. Crazy.
The time that you spent in the big leagues and all the innings pitched, 216 wins, a 3.75 ERA, 2,362 strikeouts. Your 216 wins is like 86th all time. I don't know. Nowadays, 200 wins is a number that I don't see we're going to see a whole lot of. 300's out of the question. So you're in a very elite club, and that's why you're in the Texas Rangers Hall of Fame. And for me, these numbers are borderline Hall of Fame numbers.
Well, I'm at least borderline, I guess you'd say. I've always been a little borderline. But I think the game, it's a little different today. It's a little faster. The hitters are, for the most part, bigger, stronger. More guys are hitting home runs. So it's a little tougher to pitch, I believe, on a consistent basis than it used to be. No pitchers are hitting, another extra hitter in the lineup. But again, I honestly believe that changing speeds and throwing a knuckleball is going to be really tough, and somebody's going to get it right.
Well, and it's there was always only a couple in every, 2 or 3 in every league.
Right.
But we knew that there was going to be one. And it was a really cool thing to witness. You had to have a special catcher. He had to have a special mitt. It really did change the game, and it made it more interesting. And since Wakefield and R.A. Dickey, I miss it. I miss that part of the game.
Well, I miss it too, tell you the truth. And like I say, when I get an opportunity to talk with somebody that's trying to throw it, I spend some time with them. And I end up becoming a fan myself. I mean, I'm still a big baseball fan. So I still feel like a kid going to a game.
Thanks to a knuckleball specialist, a man with over 2,000 strikeouts in the big leagues, Charlie Hough. We'll have more from Charlie when we return right here on Fox Sports, 610 AM and 106.7 FM. Also streamed live on 610foxsports.com. The Sandlot, it's where everybody plays. I'm your host, Tad Powers. The Sandlot is presented by Terramar Collective. Check out TerramarCollective.com.
Hey, this is Mike Myers, former left-handed pitcher of the Major League Baseball, played 13 years. Everybody out there, listen to the Sandlot, have a great time, enjoy the summer, and keep on swinging for the fences.
Looking for printed apparel for your school, business, sports team, or company event? Max Graphics LA is your solution. Go to maxgraphicsla.com today and check out our options. We offer screen printing, embroidery, and more on clothes from major suppliers. Our graphic designers can help you with your logo or design. We also offer custom online retail shops where we take care of all orders and fulfillment. Visit our website at maxgraphicsla.com or call 310-595-1195 today to get started. Looking for printed apparel for your school, business, sports team, or company event? Max Graphics LA is your solution. Go to maxgraphicsla.com today and check out our options. We offer screen printing, embroidery, and more on clothes from major suppliers. Our graphic designers can help you with your logo or design. We also offer custom online retail shops where we take care of all orders and fulfillment. Visit our website at maxgraphicsla.com or call 310-595-1195 today to get started.
Terramar Collective isn't just a brand, it's a tribute. Born from the Southern California coast and inspired by the legacy of a father who helped shape the board riding world literally. Terramar Collective repurposes vintage flannels and rare finds, blending timeless style with surf heritage. Honor the past, wear the story. Find us on Instagram at Terramar Collective.
It was pretty much decided for me to play baseball when I was born.
The Sandlot's where it all starts, doesn't it?
I wasn't bigger than everybody. I just threw harder.
It doesn't take any talent to hustle.
If you don't pull for the Dodgers, there's a good chance you may not get into heaven.
Something happening here.
Welcome back to the Sandlot right here on Fox Sports 610 AM and 106.7 FM. KAVL, the Antelope Valley Sports Talk Station. I'm your host, Tad Powers. Right now, we have more from one of the greatest knuckleball pitchers in Major League Baseball history, Charlie Hough. 25-year Major League. Man, that's, like you said, the dream come true. A lot of uniforms, a lot of teams that you got a chance to play on in the big leagues. And today, you played for the Dodgers, the Rangers, the White Sox, and the Marlins, and you coach with the Dodgers and the Mets. That's a lot of unis, but today, guys are on 10 teams in their 7-year career. So
yeah,
you were fortunate enough to stay with teams for a long duration and really develop a sense of belonging in a community and a fan base that knew who you were. That we don't have anymore.
Well, we have it, but just a lot less than it used to be. And like I say, the game is still really, really good, and it's so competitive. And the money is kind of grown, and the TV factors and all of the stuff has made it change a little bit. But the players are the same guys they used to be. They just worked longer.
They work longer. They might be a little bigger and stronger. They have training methods that I have to admit, Charlie, I wish I knew those training methods when I was a pitcher myself, because back in the day, there was no science behind it. We ran foul poles, we did pickups, we played long toss, we threw bullpens, and we shagged for our hitters.
Some of it was real good that we did. Some of it was worthless. All of the training that we do today, and we've done, say the last 30 years, it's an experiment. We're trying to find out how to make a guy better. And everything you can measure in sports today, the player is in better condition, they're stronger, they're faster, they train better. We did things probably that was not helping us. For instance, me pitching 200 innings at 19 years old, I wasn't ready for it, so I hurt my arm. It's nothing but better, and I hope it gets better, too.
One thing I think about is that we ran every day. Pitchers ran every day. Even on a day off, the pitching coach would get you together, a pitcher's going to run. And there's science behind rest days, like having a recovery day. And, through my whole career, we didn't really have those. And I think they were necessary, and it wasn't part of our routine. And then back then, too, the nutrition was bad. We didn't eat right.
For sure. For sure. I ran a lot. I mean, I got to where I was running, 5 miles a day, but I don't know how much it helped. I never got tired in the game, but I did some damage to my knees. I've had 3 hip replacements done. I've had 2 knee surgeries, working on maybe another knee. It takes its toll, too.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand the level of strain that you put on different joints of your body. And I discovered through this new science, hip rotational speed is in direct correlation to arm speed. We didn't really ever train our hips to go faster. But, man, these guys that throw real hard now, watch their hips come flying through. And that's why we didn't know that that's what was happening, but it was. And that's why we need new hips now.
Without a doubt.
And Charlie, we've got a game that's changed a lot. We've had rule changes. You know, in your lifetime in the game, there's been a lot of those rule changes. It stayed the same for a really long time. Pretty much through your whole playing career and as a kid watching it, there was really no changes in rules. But when you think about the ones that have taken place today, it's changed the game to a point where it's now a non-contact sport. It's not as rough, it's not as tough, and it's not as gritty.
Yeah, there was, the guys trying to turn a double play at short and second, they were always getting beat up. And catchers blocking the plate. I kind of miss it, but it makes sense. Who wants to lose, a star player that can't play for a month or 2 months or out for a year because he's hurt a knee trying to turn a double play? Most of the stuff they've done, rules-wise, at first I think that's stupid. And then you think about it, well, we're playing for the fans. Why do we want a star out of the game? So it kind of makes sense. The DH, I thought that's crazy. And then I went to the American League as a starting pitcher and loved it. So, I didn't have to do anything but pitch. And who wants to watch me hit when you can put a real hitter up there? So the rules, there's some I don't like, but for the most part, the game's pretty darn good.
There's a couple of rules for pitchers that, you could only throw over the first twice. And then after that, I don't know, they just get the base if you throw over again.
Yeah, it's a balk if you don't get them, if you don't pick them off.
Okay.
I don't care for that rule.
Yeah, because you got a base runner that can really run, like Ricky Henderson. You might throw over there 10 times just to wear him out a little bit to give your catcher a chance. Ricky might steal 200 bases with these new rules. Plus, it's 6 inches shorter because the bases are 3 inches bigger. Yep. With that 6 inches and the fact that, hey, you can throw over and you try to get Ricky twice, he's gone. And he's still 200. And I'm surprised. I predicted someone would still steal 100, and we had a Acuna go with 70 a couple of years ago, but it's dropped off again. And these catchers throw out 18% of the runners. Why aren't they running more?
They're scoring plenty of runs, though, in stretches. They're hitting more home runs.
Yes, that's for certain.
And they're figuring if you get a guy thrown out on the bases rather than being there when on the base, when somebody hits a home run, it's all based on how many runs you can score. So there's guys figuring out that if you don't steal a base, you still score.
I had conversations with other pitchers about this new thing that catchers are doing, and none of them that I've spoken to like it. One of them's a Hall of Famer, Trevor Hoffman, Adam Wainwright, Jimmy Bollinger. It's any of the pitchers that I've spoken with. They don't like this glove on the ground and then lift it up at the last second. That moving target thing, it was hard enough to hit a steady target.
Yeah.
Now you got to hit
I'm not wild about it, but that would not have bothered me because I didn't throw the ball to the glove. I threw the ball to the catcher's mask, trying to get it over the plate. So, but if I was trying to throw a fastball or something, it would be, I think, distracting first. But I don't know, guys. It doesn't seem to bother the pitchers.
The ones I've talked to don't like it. I know they're putting up with it. But another thing you're seeing is the catchers aren't as athletic when they're down on one knee. They're not blocking. They try to pick instead of block. They're giving up more. There's more pass balls, more wild pitches, more defensive runs given up because of it. And the other thing is, if I'm an umpire and I see you jerk your mitt 2 feet, because it used to be, okay, subtle movements, you might get, give it a turn a couple inches in or down. And just bring it into the corner. That was acceptable, but this yanking of the arm, if I'm an ump, I'm going, stop it. Don't do it. Quit doing it.
I think some of them feel that way. But again, it's a rule that probably in a year or two, they're going to put in the automatic umpire, calling balls and strikes or whatever, like reading the pitch. So how the catcher catches it, it's not going to matter.
Yeah, I don't want it to get to that point, Charlie. There's got to be.
Either do I. I kind of like the older way of doing it, but the guys figuring out some of these rules are pretty smart, and for the most part, I think it's pretty good. I don't like the challenging calls and stuff. I liked arguing with an umpire, and most of the umpires were pretty darn good when I played, and it's fun. Makes it exciting, I always felt.
He was a major leaguer for 25 years. He pitched in many, many Major League Baseball games, 216 wins. Charlie, 2,300 strikeouts as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys went up there just baffled by that knuckler. What a great feeling it is to know that on a given day, with the wind blowing the right way and the humidity being right, that thing's going to dance and they're going to have a hard time centering balls all day.
Yeah, it was always fun. That's for sure.
It reminds me of, and you might have seen this movie. There was a movie called It Happens Every Spring where this Harvard professor came up with a formula that if you rubbed it on something, it would repel wood. So he pitched for the St. Louis Cardinals that year and won 30 games using this hair tonic that basically made it so the ball couldn't hit a wooden bat. And that's what your knuckleball was like.
Well, some days I heard that crack a little too often.
Well, and that's a beautiful thing of the game, too, you know, that in all those appearances and stuff, once it leaves your hand, you don't know what's going to happen. And there's a lot of elements involved with a knuckleball that determines what's going to happen at the other end.
Yeah.
He's Charlie Hough. What a great honor it has been to have you on our Sandlot Radio show. Charlie, thanks so much for being a guest with us.
Thank you. It's been fun, and keep working, right? Like we all do. Love it.
Thanks for listening to the 22nd Sandlot show of the 2025 season. You can listen to the Sandlot every Saturday morning right here on Fox Sports 610 AM and 106.7 FM. Also streamed live on 610foxsports.com. You can catch replays of this year's and past season's episodes of the Sandlot Radio Show on the Sandlot Radio Show SoundCloud page. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Sandlot Radio Show for video content with the players. We also have links to our YouTube, Spotify, SiriusXM MLB Network, and all the other networks that feature podcasts. Please explore the SandlotRadioNetwork.com website to check out our reels and images from our long history of covering everything from the Sandlot to the big leagues. If you're interested in advertising your business on the Sandlot Radio Show, give us a call at 303-350-0655 or send us a message to the SandlotRadioNetwork.com website. I'd like to thank all of our guests on today's show. We had former Major League player, now media baseball guru, Ryan Spilborgs, Spilly, in our Who's Hot and Who's Not segments covering both the National League and the American League. We also had a baseball great, a borderline Hall of Famer. We had knuckleballer Charlie Hough. The Sandlot, it's where everybody plays. It's a place of our own. It's our field. It's our neighborhood. It's our team. It's our home. The Sandlot is presented by TerramarCollective.com and sponsored by the Sandlot Radio Network, Econoware, South Bay Credit Union, Max Graphics LA, and Grit Sports Collective. The Sandlot, it's where everybody plays. It's a place of our own. It's our field. It's our neighborhood. It's our team. It's our home. I'm your host, Tad Powers.
Damn it! Who typed a question mark on the teleprompter? For the last time, anything you put on that prompter, Burgundy will read.
Is this heaven?
It's Iowa. Is there a heaven?
Oh, yeah. It's the place dreams come true.
Hey, Dad? You want to have a catch?
I'd like that.
Terramar Collective isn't just a brand, it's a tribute. Born from the Southern California coast and inspired by the legacy of a father who helped shape the board riding world literally. Terramar Collective repurposes vintage flannels and rare finds, blending timeless style with surf heritage. Honor the past, wear the story. Find us on Instagram at Terramar Collective. With so many banking options out there, why choose South Bay Credit Union? As a nonprofit credit union, they're here to serve you, not shareholders. That means they're able to provide better rates, fewer fees, and more valuable benefits to empower their members to live better and do better. You want to master your money? South Bay Credit Union puts you in control of your money with everyday banking solutions. From checking accounts to home mortgages, credit cards to auto loans, their members have access to the tools they need to achieve their financial goals now and in the future.
The heat was unbearable. My AC was striking out and my house felt like a summer game with no shade. Then I called Econoware. What a game changer. They knocked the heat out of the park and now I'm comfortable year round. Give Econoair a call today at 714-333-0130. That's 714-333-0130. Sandlot listeners mention the show for an exclusive discount on maintenance or repair with Econoair.
Looking for printed apparel for your school, business, sports team, or company event? Max Graphics LA is your solution. Go to maxgraphicsla.com today and check out our options. We offer screen printing, embroidery, and more on clothes from major suppliers. Our graphic designers can help you with your logo or design. We also offer custom online retail shops where we take care of all orders and fulfillment. Visit our website at maxgraphicsla.com or call 310-595-1195 today to get started.